A legacy-tainted Hugo Boss and the shadow of Nazism. Hugo Boss, a name synonymous with high fashion and luxury, carries a dark secret. The brand's founder, Hugo Ferdinand Boss, was a card-carrying member of the Nazi Party. He profited from the regime's atrocities by manufacturing uniforms for the Nazi Party. This controversial past continues to haunt the brand, sparking debates about ethical responsibility and historical accountability. This essay delves into the complex history of Hugo Boss, exploring its entanglement with the Nazi regime and its journey to becoming a global fashion icon. Humble beginnings, from workwear to wartime supplier. Hugo Ferdinand Boss established his eponymous company in Metzingen, Germany, in 1924. Initially, the company focused on producing workwear. It manufactured overalls, raincoats, and sportswear. However, the economic turmoil of the Great Depression hit the company hard. Facing bankruptcy, Hugo Boss made a fateful decision. In 1931, he joined the National Socialist German Workers' Party, more commonly known as the Nazi Party. The rise of the Third Reich Germany in the 1930s. The early 1930s witnessed the meteoric rise of the Nazi Party in Germany. Fueled by economic hardship and political instability, the Nazis promised national revival and economic prosperity. Their propaganda machine effectively exploited public anxieties, scapegoating minorities, and promising a return to former glory. By 1933, Adolf Hitler, the leader of the Nazi Party, had ascended to the position of Chancellor, effectively cementing the party's grip on power. Germany was rapidly transforming into a totalitarian state, and businesses like Hugo Boss were presented with a crucial choice: to comply or face the consequences. Supplying the Nazi war machine, Hugo Boss, and the production of uniforms. Joining the Nazi Party proved to be a lucrative business decision for Hugo Boss. His company secured a contract to produce uniforms for the Sturmabteilung, the Nazi Party's paramilitary wing, also known as the Brown Shirts. Later, Hugo Boss expanded its production to include uniforms for the Schutzstaffel, the infamous Nazi organization responsible for the Holocaust. The company also manufactured uniforms for the Wehrmacht, the German armed forces, and the Hitler Youth. This wartime production significantly boosted the company's profits and secured its survival. The exploitation of innocents' forced labor under the Nazi regime. Hugo Boss, like many German companies during the Nazi era, profited from the exploitation of forced labor. This dark period saw countless individuals stripped of their freedom and dignity, forced into grueling work environments. As the war escalated, the demand for uniforms and other supplies skyrocketed. Factories were pushed to their limits, and the need for labor became insatiable. To meet these demands, Hugo Boss, along with many other German businesses, turned to a readily available and inexpensive source of labor: prisoners of war and concentration camp inmates. These individuals were often subjected to inhumane treatment, working long hours with little to no rest. These individuals, stripped of their basic human rights, were forced to work in deplorable conditions, enduring starvation, disease, and brutality. The harsh conditions led to countless deaths and immense suffering. The use of forced labor was a dark chapter in Hugo Boss's history, one that the company has grappled with ever since. This period serves as a stark reminder of the atrocities committed and the human cost of war. The legacy of this exploitation continues to haunt the company as it strives to acknowledge and atone for its past. Facing the consequences, post-war repercussions, and a tarnished reputation. Following the defeat of Nazi Germany in 1945, Hugo Boss faced the consequences of its wartime activities. Hugo Ferdinand Boss was tried by a denazification court and found guilty of being a profiteer of the war. He was fined and stripped of his voting rights. However, he avoided imprisonment and continued to run his company until his death in 1948. The company's association with the Nazi regime tarnished its reputation, leaving a dark stain on its legacy. Despite this, Hugo Boss managed to survive the post-war period, shifting its focus back to civilian clothing. A new era transitioning leadership. and shifting focus. After Hugo Ferdinand Boss's death in 1948, his son-in-law, Eugen Holy, took over the company's leadership. Under Holy's guidance, Hugo Boss shifted its focus away from uniforms and towards men's suits. This strategic move proved successful and the company began to rebuild its reputation. However, the legacy of its founder's Nazi past continued to linger, casting a long shadow over the brand. The latter half of the 20th century witnessed a remarkable transformation for Hugo Boss. The company expanded its product lines to include women's wear, accessories and fragrances. It embraced a modern, sophisticated aesthetic, becoming synonymous with high-end fashion. Hugo Boss became a global brand, with stores opening in major cities around the world. Celebrities and fashion icons embraced the brand, cementing its status as a fashion powerhouse. Reconciling the past, shaping the future. Corporate social responsibility and historical accountability are more important than ever. In recent years, Hugo Boss has taken significant steps to acknowledge and atone for its controversial past. The company, known for its stylish and high-quality products, has a history that includes a dark chapter during the Nazi era. In 2011, Hugo Boss issued a public apology for its use of forced labor during the Nazi era. This was a crucial step in addressing the wrongs of the past and showing a commitment to transparency. The company acknowledged the suffering caused and expressed deep regret for its actions during that time. This public apology was a significant moment in the company's history. Additionally, Hugo Boss commissioned a historian to conduct an independent study of its wartime activities. This study aimed to uncover the full extent of the company's involvement and provide a detailed account of its actions. In response to the findings, the company has implemented strict ethical guidelines and partnered with organizations promoting social responsibility. These efforts include initiatives to ensure fair labor practices and support for various social causes. While these efforts are commendable and show a genuine attempt to make amends, they have not completely erased the stain of the past. The legacy of Hugo Ferdinand Boss's Nazi affiliation continues to spark debate and discussion. This ongoing debate serves as a reminder of the importance of historical awareness and corporate accountability. Companies must not only acknowledge their past, but also take meaningful steps to address it. The story of Hugo Boss highlights the complex relationship between corporate success and historical responsibility. It underscores the need for continuous efforts to reconcile with the past while shaping a more ethical and responsible future. The enduring power of the past, reflections on history and its impact on fashion. The fashion industry, often seen as a realm of creativity and innovation, is not immune to the shadows of history. The story of Hugo Boss is a stark reminder that even the most glamorous industries can have dark pasts. During World War II, Hugo Boss produced uniforms for the Nazi regime, a fact that casts a long shadow over the brand's legacy. It highlights the importance of acknowledging and learning from history, even when it is uncomfortable. By confronting these truths, we can better understand the complexities of the fashion world. The fashion industry, often associated with beauty and aspiration, must grapple with its own ethical responsibilities. This includes recognizing the impact of past actions and striving to do better. Consumers too have a role to play. They are not just passive recipients of fashion trends, but active participants in shaping the industry. By being aware of the histories of the brands they support, consumers can make informed choices. This awareness can drive change and promote more ethical practices. Consumers can make informed choices and encourage ethical practices within the fashion world. Their purchasing power can influence brands to adopt more responsible practices and encourage ethical practices within the fashion world. The collective effort of consumers and brands can lead to a more transparent and just industry. The past may be gone, but its impact on the present and the future remains. By confronting history head-on, we can learn valuable lessons. We can strive to create a more just and ethical future for all. The journey towards a better fashion industry is ongoing, and it requires the commitment of everyone involved.